All right, we got more venereal diseases for you today. Let me explain why I got these two to begin with, right? These are the 006s right here. You remember these from the previous video where I compared the 004, 005, 006, and 007s. I figured, well, they're all made by Sivga and they're all around the same price range. So, hey, they might as well be the same headphone with some slight differences to them. Let's see, well, what makes each one of them special and what might make one of them better than another headphone than when compared to each other. These kind of stood out to me because unlike the other two, unlike the other three, these are closed back, right? Which means that they can't really compete with the others. These kind of have their own thing going on, right? Anyway, I listened to these and I had some complaints with them. The sound was decent. I couldn't complain. But the build, the actual design of the actual headphone was a little weird because it sat on your head and it has this oval design right here in the cup. And the weird thing is that it clamps down up here just fine, no issues. But then at the bottom, it kind of has this like loose, it feels like there's a gap, right? Like a gap that's just kind of letting some sound escape and there's stuff going on. It doesn't really sit well on your head. So I said, well, maybe Sivga makes other closed back headphones. And sure enough, hey, they do. They make the 002s and these, the 003s. I said, these 003s should please me. So I decided to buy them and to compare the two. I said, hey, maybe these might be a little better than the 006s. You never know. So I pulled the trigger and here I am. And I am sad to say that that is far from the truth. These things, all right, let's just get to the stuff it comes with first of all, right? So both of these come with a box here. Let me show you the box. This thing, it's magnetic, it is very sturdy, it's very nice. Hold your headphones in it. It stores the carrying case, which is, well, it's even better. But let's face the music here. You're not really going to use this ever. You're going to use them in the carrying case. So it's very nice. It's very nice anyway. So well, thank you, Sivga, for that, I guess. It comes with an airplane adapter. Look at this. Wow, if you're going to fly on a plane, you got this airplane adapter. So you can use it and watch, Home Alone for the 20th time, whatever. You have this extra long 3.5 to 3.5 cable right here, which is made out of really nice materials, by the way. This I do have to commend them on. Come on, please focus. Focus up. And I'm not talking to the camera, I'm talking to myself. There we go. It's a really nice, I guess you can say braided cable, right? And it terminates to 3.5, but they also include an adapter to screw into 1/4 inch. That way you can use it on a headphone amp if you so desire. Okay, you get the point, right? 1/4 inch, and it looks really nice. And look, it says Sivga right there. Oh, if only this thing could focus up. There we go. Sivga, really nice. This I actually really commend them on. And look, the spring to reduce, the tension on the cable and make it more stable. It's really nice. That I do commend them on. And it's, I'd say 5 to 6 feet long. So it's not crazy long, but it's definitely long enough for most setups. Unless you have this, massive setup where you really need to like walk 10 miles to get to your DAC and then another 10 miles to get to your amp. Then it also comes with this shorter cable right here, also braided, also looks really, really nice. And it's a 3-button inline mic. This is 3.5 to 3.5, by the way. And I got a report that it works perfectly fine on Android. I had no issues with it. And that's really rare considering that there are very, very few cables out there with a 3-button inline mic and remote that actually work on Android. So that's really nice. I mean, I got to give them credit for this. Like, wow, dude, the accessories that the Sivga includes with their headphones are That's really fantastic. I do gotta say this is like the best of the bunch, if not one of the best of the bunch that I've ever seen with headphones, generally speaking. But let's get down to the rest of the most important stuff right here. Build quality on both of these. They both sport the same headband. This headband is quite heavy, but it's also quite plush. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it gets the job done. Uh, do not walk around with either one of these. I think both of these are going to feel a little like way too heavy on your head, and they're going to feel like you're gonna look down and these are going to slide off your head a little bit, and then you have to readjust them every time. It's a little too heavy to walk around in, so I wouldn't really recommend it for that. Um, what do we have next? Bit of a difference between the two. These do not have the quote-unquote fenestrated ear pads that all the other Sivkas do, but these do. Again, they're pointless. It's more of an aesthetic thing because on the inside, they do not have the fenestration. So it doesn't ventilate anything. It just is, right? Let me describe the sound of these first before I jump into these, right? All right, so the 006s, for my ears, had a very, very weak bass, but not necessarily dead or just straight up absent. It was just more of a like very respectful, just almost gone, but not quite there. Like the bass definitely wasn't the main attraction of this headphone. It was more about the mid to high region. That's the attraction of this headphone, which to my ears sounded a little elevated, but not enough to sound bold and brash or harsh in any way. It was pretty decent, and the amount of detail there was quite acceptable. So they sounded all right to my ears. They sounded decent, but I wanted to say not fully sold on these. Not quite sold on these. So then I got these thinking, well, these share the other design that the others do. They're not rectangular cups. They're rounded cups, and they're still wood, and they look really nice and all. And I said, that's pretty nice. Let's try it out. When I plugged in a cable to the 3.5 female in here, I heard something kind of like wiggle, or kind of not really snap, but kind of like a little crack, like the cracking of wood, more or less. Now, there's no cracking out here that I could perceive, that I could see at all. I don't see any cracking whatsoever. So if anything happened, it had to be internal. And I still kind of hear it every now and then whenever I plug in the cable again. But then I put it on, I managed to get it in, and and it was working, right? But it sounded really hollow to me, very hollow. And I said, you know what, I'll just let these burn in, because it's probably just the fact that they're brand new drivers and never used before. So I'm going to let them burn in. And I did for about a day or two. And I came back to them, and they sounded exactly the same. It is the strangest thing about these. It's so weird. It's like, like grab your headphones right now, and then with your hands, just pull them apart from your head a little bit, like just to the point where the the pads are just barely touching your head, like just barely. They're making contact, but they have zero pressure on your head whatsoever. And you know how it sounds like, well, there's sound, and I can hear some lows, some mids, some highs, but they sound hollow and like distant, and not necessarily like they have a wide sound stage, but it's just more like you can obviously tell that these headphones are like a little apart from your head because you yourself are actually pulling them apart from your head. That is exactly the sound that I get with these completely on. It's the strangest thing. I don't know if I received the defective model. I don't know if I should replace these or if I should just straight up return them, because, well, no, actually, I am going to return them because this is just not acceptable. I really don't think this is a sound signature that anybody could get behind, because it legitimately sounds like you have your headphones like within a centimeter within a centimeter's distance from your ear, or your actual head. It's the weirdest thing ever. So, really disappointed with these. 006s, I still don't know if I'm going to keep them because I wasn't truly convinced on them. But at least these sound like they work. At least they have a respectable sound signature going on, and they still look kind of classy because of the wooden finish. This is that walnut. It's pretty nice, but not quite for me. I can't really say I recommend these. I can definitely say I don't recommend these. And yeah, so this one's kind of a shorter one and kind of a disappointment, to be quite honest with you. I expected more from these two. I expected a lot more from these two, and I didn't really receive it with this. Definitely didn't receive it with this. I mean, but take it as you may. Hey, maybe I really did receive a defective pair. I don't know. I mean, the cracking that I heard from the wood, right? The cracking, it was just like a slight sound, like ever so slight, just like definitely didn't sound normal per se, but I wouldn't say it was something just breaking down because they're working perfectly fine. Both drivers are working. I can adjust the headband, and the sliders work perfectly fine. I've heard no issues. I've tested them with different cables and they sound exactly the same. And the mic works perfectly fine when connected to this and a smartphone. They work their functions perfectly fine. Up, down, play, pause, answer a call, decline a call, hang up the call. It all works perfectly fine. So yeah, that's my bottom line here. Just to reiterate on the sound on these, because I felt like I didn't quite explain well enough. It was the lows, the mids were kind of there, but also quite distant, like a little distant, but not like you have the headphone pulled apart from your ear like these. And then the highs get a little up there, but they have a pretty good amount of detail in it. So these might be worth a shot, and these are kind of a risky venture just because what if they're not defective? What if that's just straight up how these sound like? And I'm actually banking on that because they don't sound quite as defective to me as they sound like this is just genuinely their sound signature. I don't know. I'm a little stranged out here. That's not a word. I don't care. I'm a little stranged out here. So yeah, take that as you might.